anybody is taking time to watch this, do not desecrate the grave of Bathsheba because you watched a movie and you think you know something. Alright, this is Johanna from Travelers Paranormal. I'm about to do the 16th challenge in the Paragames, Bill Wilkins challenge. So the idea behind this challenge, I'm in my subdivision. We've discussed its history before in the past. I've got 2 candles, I've got my S-box. I'm going to try and make connections with Bill Wilkins. Bill Wilkins was the spirit of an old man. It was one of the cases that Lorraine and Ed Warren worked on, and it was known as the Enfield Poltergeist. It's basically the Amityville horror of England. So I'm going to put this up a little bit. Bill Wilkins, can you hear me? Is there anybody here with me? Is there anyone here named Bill Wilkins? That was a female voice. Can you repeat that? So one of the cool things about the Enfield Poltergeist is that it's very well documented. There was a fellow named Guy Playfair. He also kind of investigated, more so than the Warrens, really. So I think an important thing to keep in mind, one, I love the Conjuring movies. So Enfield was Conjuring too. Patrick Wilson, very familiar, fantastic together. But they are fictional representations of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Is there anyone here with me? That was 3 syllables. So they're fictional representations of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren, very polarizing figures. No matter what you feel about them, though, the Conjuring movies, I think, are entertaining. And you can take them by themselves. And you should, really. I think it's the movie audience's responsibility to separate fact and fiction. I know that Conjuring 1 was about a house in New England, and it kind of told the story. They said that there was a witch named Bathsheba. Well, there really was a Bathsheba, and her grave has been desecrated multiple times since that movie came out, which is, there's no reason for that. That's terrible. That's disgusting. Nobody should be doing that. In Conjuring 2, Enfield Poltergeist. Also, if you like TV series, Matthew McFadden in a wonderful mini-series about that poltergeist where he played Guy Playfair. But Bill Wilkins was a real person. He lived in that home with his family. He did pass away in the house, in the corner that's documented. But there were some discrepancies between what was said by Janet, the small girl that was supposedly being possessed by this poltergeist. She had the cause of death wrong. She had the age wrong. She was close. At one point she said that he was buried or he said through her, that he was buried in the cemetery nearby, but he wasn't. Which is odd because they were all very easily verifiable things that weren't done at the time. That's my phone. In the Conjuring movie, Conjuring 2, they add a different level because, like I said, it's fiction. And they've got to put something to bring all the movies together. So what they did was they inserted the demon Valak, who kind of took over Bill and was using him really to draw the Warrens in. The Enfield poltergeist, as it is, the case file, there is no Valak in that. That's fiction for the movie. But, again, Bill Wilkins was a real person. And it's thought that he came back and haunted the home because he was checking up on his family. That's 4 syllables there. Can you repeat that? I believe in the paranormal, and I especially love doing research. So for me, knowing that he's a real person, you can find his birth certificate, you can find his death certificate, you can find the information about him. He was a real person with a family. He was checking up on his family, right? He wanted to make sure that they were okay. To me, that's what this is about, like getting the history, getting the stories. Bill or anyone? Is there anyone here with me? There's something in, like, the road. Can you repeat that? So I think I heard it say Grant. Is there anyone here who would like to speak with me? Can you tell me your name? Been a couple instances where I had male voice right there. At least one other time was a female voice. Four syllables. Can you repeat that? So I think it said they go. Who's they? Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? I think it said why, but as I was saying, can you repeat that? So I didn't understand. I think it said trouble. Anyway, for different investigations we've done, I've gotten things like pictures of graves, census reports, death certificates. Because each person, each investigation we go on, those are real people. They have real families. They have real connections to the world. They had, and they still have, depending on time frame. I think that's important to remember. And I also think, like I said before, the idea of separating fact from fiction is very important. Anybody is taking time to watch this, do not desecrate the grave of Bathsheba because you watched a movie and you think you know something. Don't assume that you're watching. They're movies. They're not documentaries. They're not real life. They're not the true story. They're fictionalized and made for entertainment. And the fact that her gravestones had to be replaced is disgusting. But it's a cool thing when a movie takes some truth and makes it entertaining. So, Bill's a real person. The Enfield Poltergeist is a real story. There's real documentation. There are police reports that say police showed up and were like, the table lifted up. I can't explain it. But then there's fictionalized things for a movie. I thought I heard something. And a male voice again. Two syllables. Can you repeat that? I think it said waiting, but I'm not sure. It did repeat it. Are you saying a name? Could you repeat that? Let's try again. Bill Wilkins, are you here? Is there anyone here who knows Ed and Lorraine Warren? How do you know them? Alright, so that was my timer. Some voice is coming through. Bill Wilkins? I don't know. If he was haunting in Enfield, in England, really just looking to check up on his family, the likelihood of him showing up in Tennessee, very slim. Especially when you think, but then, you think about how does the haunting work? What does property lines, what does space and time really mean when you talk about residual haunting? Things that have happened in the past. When you see a soldier on a battlefield, that's a residual haunting, right? That soldier may not necessarily be there right now. It's just playing out like a place memory. So, could somebody sitting in Tennessee asking Bill Wilkins, "Are you here?" actually cause him to come through, or am I too far away? Am I too removed by time for that to work? Does property lines matter? Does the fact that someone lives in a place means that they'll haunt that place, or can they go other places? We had the cool example in the Monroe house in Hartford City when Megan got someone talking about a fire, and she said, I don't have a fire here. Where was the fire? And they said, Jefferson Street, which is just a block or so away. She said, if you were in a fire on Jefferson Street, why are you here? And they said, no one's listening. So because I'm investigating in a spot and trying to reach out, can that cause a ghost to come to that place because it's someplace they can be heard? I don't know. Did I make contact with Bill Wilkins? I don't know. Can he hear me? Does he know someone's talking about him? I don't know. But I do know the Conjuring movies are really good movies, but they are not true. They are not documentaries. They are not the real Ed and Lorraine Warren. So whether you hate them or not, you can like the movies. And also, do not desecrate Bathsheba's grave because you watched the movie. I cannot say that enough. Do not do that. Thank you. Oh, and I'd like to thank What's Paranormal for these Paragame challenges. I didn't know how long this was going to go for. I made my file Paragames 2022, assuming that we would do it again the next time it came up, but I guess I'll have to change that file now to account for 2023. So here's to a new year and some new challenges. Thank you, What's Paranormal.
Hey, so this is Megan from Travelers Paranormal. I am completing the Bill Wilkins challenge of the Paragames sponsored by What's Paranormal. I am currently outside in my subdivision, and just like Johanna was, at least talked about some of the history of this location and such. So, the challenge is a 15-minute challenge, so I've got my timer going. I'm going to try to talk to Bill Wilkins, who was documented in Enfield Haunting as being a poltergeist haunting, and in the Conjuring movie series, we find out he is being held basically as a puppet or a figurehead to hide Valak, the demon's true intentions. Timer is going. And Bill, are you here? Or is Bill capable of speaking? Sound like you said, what happened? Well, in the 70s in Enfield, England, a family was haunted by a poltergeist spirit of Bill Wilkins. He was an old man who had passed away in his house, and the haunting was very well documented. The Warrens were there for a little bit and then left, but there were other people who were there for a lot longer documenting it. I think Joe talks more about that actual haunting. Is there anyone here who knows Bill Wilkins? So it sounded like it had said how does, and then just there it said 3 different syllables. It sounded like a female voice, but I couldn't understand what she said. So, just made a full cycle, and nothing really came through. One of the interesting things about the Conjuring movies is their documentation. And so the demon of Valak that's in those movies doesn't really have a connection to the actual demon of Valak that comes from the Lesser Key of Solomon. And that is basically a collection of 72 demons that Solomon from the Bible is said to have captured and contained in a brass jar. He threw that brass jar into either a lake or a hole, depending on what version you're reading, and then later on that jar was recovered and broken open, and he had locked these 72 demons inside of it using his Solomon, very wise, using astrological, astronomy, and magic, supposedly, if you study further into it, to lock them up. And it got broken free, though, and so they were released. Valak is the 62nd of those 72 demons, and he's depicted not as a nun, in that he is depicted as a cherub riding a 2-headed dragon. One of the things that the Conjuring universe did keep with Valak is when they called him a Marquis of Snakes. Marquis is a rank for the demons. He was a president, but he is connected to snakes. His specific traits are that he can give knowledge, find lost treasures, and summon and command snakes. And so the snake is a symbol that we see with him throughout that movie series. And is one of the things that they did get from the writing. You can look it up. There's very specific things you have to do to conjure him, and it is suggested not to. It's not something that I would play with. I think it just said dangerous. I would consider it very dangerous. Is anyone with knowledge of Bill or Valak here? So the Nun 2 in the Conjuring series is supposed to come out in September, I believe, and I'm excited for that. I really like the Conjuring series. I like the attention that they pay to their details. James Wan is a master. Like I said, he doesn't really use the What was that? Can you repeat that? So like I said, hold on one moment. His idea to use Valak as this overarching feature did come from an interview he did with Lorraine. He was talking to her, and she said that she was feeling, for a period of months or years, she was being haunted by this spectral entity, which she said had a female presence to it, and it was haunting her in her dreams and in her sometimes the waking world, showing her images of Ed being attacked and endangered. She described it as a hooded figure, kind of wrapped up in this tornado vortex of blackness. And so James Wan was like, oh man, that's got to be CGI. But then as he thought on it is when they came up with the idea of using this nun figure as something to question and challenge her faith specifically. And so it was attacking both her faith and her connection to Ed, where if you're watching those movies, that is their ultimate strength, is their connection to each other. So like I said, it is. So it's kind of like I said, France, and just like I said, the next movie in the series, The Nun 2, is going to be released in September, and it's supposed to take place, as I understand it right now, in France in 1956, so 4 years after the previous Nun movie. Sister Irene will be back for sure. I'm not sure about Frenchie. But I imagine Frenchie will be, since he right now is the vessel for Valak. You know that they'll have their first run-in with Valak. The Warrens had their first run-in with Valak in the film series in 1970 when they were performing The Exorcism on Frenchie. Sound like I said, I'm speaking. I'm listening. Hello? Who am I speaking with? Sound like I said 3 syllables, so I didn't really catch it. Like I said, you will speak. What do you have to say? Is this Bill? I didn't understand. It was like 4 syllables, so can you repeat that? Sound like a woman's voice saying, help me. How can we help you? The version of the Lesser Key of Solomon that I read when I was researching Valak was actually published by Aleister Crowley, which may or may not be a familiar name. Some other names that Valak goes by in different grimoires, where like his traits are connected to them, are various spellings of Valak. Sometimes it's a U instead of a V, sometimes it's D instead of a K. But also Zulok and Kur, I think, were the other 2 that were very different, but they had similar traits, like I said, to him. Sound like I said, Abu. Said he's coming. Is Bill Wilkins coming? Sound like you just said, I'm going back. Some of the interesting things about the Enfield Haunting with Bill Wilkins is some of the information that the girl was giving was wrong and was easily verifiable, but apparently was not fact-checked at the time. And so that's interesting. There's a few books I saw on some websites about it, so I might look more up into it. It doesn't sound like I said that would be good. I think so too. I'm always a fan of research. Historical research and verifying information are 2 of our favorite parts of of seeking for knowledge. I thought it just said you want this. I do want knowledge, but I want to get it through the right means, which is hard work and study. That was a different voice.
Sounded like it said, there he is.
There who is. Two syllables in a female voice. Well, if anyone did come through and speak to me, I appreciate it. And you can go back now. But I appreciate you taking time to speak with me. And anyone who is watching, thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something about Valak. And thank you to What the Paranormal for coming up with different challenges each week with different topics that are interesting to learn about. I look forward to the next week's challenge as well.